Well, Julia Fordham's here with me now. Julia, first of all, what is a woman of the 80s?
Well, I've got this theory that I think I'm a woman of the 80s because as a teenager, which I hated and loathed and thought it was absolutely awful, and in fact felt I was like fat and ugly, I really didn't have a time, and it's like my time to arrive now. And I really feel like I've only come into my own as a woman of the 80s, like in my mid-20s. And I think the definition of a woman of the 80s, I mean, I like sound I'm talking about it, but I think it's kind of like that you do get that kind of like dichotomy of being this independent career person to the extent that you almost like mask your vulnerability sometimes, and that's what the song's about. It's meant to be like a light-hearted look at that, how you're sort of like, this is what I do, and how silly it is that you think you can't phone boys anymore because you're sort of striding ahead in your career. But
well, you're talking about, you know, being solid, being strong. You were both the co-producer, you were the writer, you were the arranger of this. Was it important to be in total control?
Well, I wasn't in total control. I mean, I guess by the nature of the person that I am, I mean, I'm sort of like a naturally gifted, bossy person. So, and also that I've done so many other things. By the time I came to do the album, I was fairly kind of focused as to how I wanted it to go. But I did have a lot of support, and I wouldn't want to take credit for everything. But it was imperative to me because I have done so many other things that, you know, these are my songs and they're very close to my heart. And I felt like I did know how I wanted them to be done.
Conscious as well, though, that a lot of people, and particularly women, who gain some kind of fame and credibility through their music, essentially are changed by the people that they're with, be it their managers, their minders. I mean, is that a real danger?
I don't know if it's a danger. I mean, I think it's like interesting. I mean, just prior to this, we're talking about change, and I think the change is inevitable. And I hope that I do change in some way because I want to sort of like continue to develop like spiritually and creatively and as a writer. But I think that you have to, especially when you're as old as me. See, when you get to
the oldest 26, God, that's absolutely ancient.
You see, I kind of, you know, I feel like I am quite experienced, and I've done a real good course in the University of Music Business, and that's like the benefit of doing so many like sessions and things for other people that I feel very solid as a person.
Well, we were talking earlier in the introduction to this about how many women are in the charts just now. Do you think it is that there is more talent around? It's just got the confidence to project that?
I think it's both, actually. I mean, I do think it's actually something to do with the way that the role of women has changed. I mean, this is my whole thing, like, you know, having watched this Out of the Doll's House programme, which I'm hooked on. It's like the changing role of women never ceases to amaze me, and I think that women are more able to assert themselves now, whether it's kind of like the bubbly kind of the pop market that you were talking about, which in a sense also has its own sense of worth, or if it's like this new surge of singer-songwriters, there is a market for it, and women are coming to the fore, and thank the Lord, that's all I can say.
Julia Fordham, thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy.